Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing a DIY project of I'm going to be painting the tips. I don't want to upgrade the tips, so what I'm going to be doing is painting them black with a gloss, and then also I don't want to upgrade the exhaust system because it's going to be too loud with the family, so I don't want to do that. Two options you can do. Depending on how old your car is, this is about 6-7 years old, so obviously let me zoom this in a little. If you notice, the screw is absolutely will not come out. So I am left with two options to either I can go get new tips and then paint them, put them on, or I'm going to do is I'm going to put a plastic all around it, cover it up with tape and everything, and then I'm just going to paint these. What I'm going to be doing is painting with about 3 layers of HVT black and then about 3 layers of a gloss on it to seal it. So let me get everything started and I'll show you guys through the process of layering the paint and everything. Okay guys, so what I've done is I've gone through, essentially I took garbage bags, opened them up, took painter's tape and taped up all around as much as I could to make sure I don't get anything on the paint. Easiest thing would have been if you were able to remove these. Obviously I cannot remove them, they're not bad, so I don't want to go get new ones and spend $100 on the original ones. So what I'm going to do is essentially use this VHT engine enamel. It's a high temperature paint. It's not gonna come off from the exhaust being hot, and then I'm going to use the same afterwards for a clear coat. What I'll do is I'll link both of these products down in the video below. Painter's tape, if you're putting anything on the paint, then make sure you use painter's tape. Other than that, you can use anything you want to. Also, just make sure you cover up your car really good, because this is not, it's not a simple, like it can come off. It will not come off from your paint, so you want to make sure your car is well protected, your bumpers and everything else. So what I'm going to do is shake it really good. 1 can is more than enough. These cans are about $9 at AutoZone or other stores. I think prices have went up. So shake it really good. You can get one of those handles. I have one, I'll show you in the video later. But essentially start off with a thin layer of covering as much as possible. It's hard to get in there, so you would have to do it carefully when you get to it. Don't worry if you don't get the first coverage, it's fine. Just go slow, and I'm going to let this dry. What I did forget to do was put a mat underneath so I don't get my concrete all black. I'm going to do that before I do the second one. Okay, so I've put something on the floor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this side and essentially let it dry for about 15-20 minutes. Again, before you do it, just make sure all the body part is covered. You don't want your white or other car color to get all black. Okay, so when you do the first coating, you don't have to do a lot, because you can leave it and let it dry and come back to it, because if you do a lot, they're going to start having some runs and drips on the side. You don't want to have that. Again, I'm doing it outside. If you want to do it inside, or if you have like a bay where you can lock out the air, that's great. But what I'm going to do is I'm essentially going to go through and use about 2 to 3 more layers of the same product that I was showing you guys right here. And then once that's done, dried, I'm going to finish it off with a clear black, about maybe 2 to 3 layers. We'll see how it goes. Stay tuned. I'm going to come back and keep doing this. So the first coat has dried up. I did have to go back and tape up somewhere inside to make sure it doesn't touch the paint, the wet paint before. So what I'm going to do now is do the second coat on it on both sides, and then let it dry and come back and do the third one. So what I'm going to do now is that side is done. Let me re-angle the camera a little better. Yeah, sorry about these. They're really tough to see because the garbage bags are black and the paint color is black. So now I'm going to do this side. Same thing. So that's good for now. Come back, maybe do third and fourth layer depending on how it looks, and then I'll let you guys see each other coating that I do. Okay, so the coat 2 has dried, so what we're going to do is do a third coat. This is what I was talking about. It is like a handle that you can attach to the top of the can, and it helps you spray so you don't have to do it. Just make sure you shake it very good before you do anything, and then you can attach the handle and you can spray with the handle. But one piece of advice, you see the yellow tip where the paint comes out of? After a couple of sprays and you wait, it might stick up there, so when you try to go spray it, it might not be a straight spray. So just take your hand or a towel or something and just wipe it, so your sprayer is good. So what I'm going to do is now show you how to do it with this. Essentially, the reason it might be a little harder is because there's not that much room because the way it's sitting so low. But if this was just off the car, it might be easier to use the spray handle. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So you guys can see, let me just readjust this, okay? So a couple things that I didn't do right, well, I'm going to tell you guys right away. Try to keep it about 4 to 6 inches away. My area is so underneath that I'm trying to get close to it. But I've done 3 layers. What I'm going to do is wait, let it dry, and do 4th afterwards. Hey guys, so I'm ready to do coat 3. 2 has dried. It's smooth paint. Shake the can and essentially do it one more time. Just try to do it as evenly as possible. Don't overspray it. You don't want any runs. And then we're gonna do the same thing on this side. I know lighting is not that great, so okay guys, so it looks pretty good, but what I'm going to do is, just for my own sake, I'm going to do one last coat, a layer coat of the black VHT. So this side looks pretty good. What I'm going to do is take the camera over to the other side. Let me focus really fast. And then we're going to do this side as well. Okay, so this looks pretty good. What I'm going to do, let it dry, and then we'll finish off with 2 coats of clear gloss afterwards. Okay, so after doing 4 coats of the black, we're going to use the VHT engine enamel. It's a high gloss paint, and I'll put the link down below. Essentially, depending on, just go by the look how the car looks, most likely you will need to do about 2 or 3 coats. So this is the first one. Again, don't do too heavy. Just try to get as much coverage on the first one. And just let it sit. Again, for 10 to 20 minutes, let it dry, and then we'll do one more coat after this. So it has dried out. What we're going to do is another coat of this on the car, on the exhaust itself, exhaust tips I should say. So here it is. Let's take it over to the other side. Sorry about earlier. I don't know if the lighting was that good or not because of the sun being out. So I've done about 2 layers of clear coat and about 4 layers of this black VHT engine paint. The reason you want to use it is because it goes up to 550 degrees. Obviously, I've done on the other car and it does not peel off. It does not melt when the exhaust gets hot. That's one of the reasons I ended up getting this. What I'll do is once this dries off, I will unmask the black garbage paper that I have on here, and then I'll get you guys a final shot of how the car looks with white with black. Stay tuned. So I've removed the plastic, just going through and removing the extra tape I put around, just to make sure around the exhaust tip I don't get any paint on here. So just getting those off. And hopefully now, since the sun has gone down, you can probably see how the black looks on here. I ended up coloring this as well because this was a little bit dirty. I had cleaned the tips. There's a matte cleaner. You can get it AutoZone Advanced Auto. I'll link it down below. But essentially I cleaned the tips and they were shiny chrome and ended up painting on top of it. What you could do is take a very light grit paper, the sandpaper, and sand the tips and then do it so the paint actually sticks to it. But I have not had problem doing it directly on, so I did it directly on, and here's the other side. So let's get this off. It's a very easy mod. If you guys want to do it, if you don't want to change the exhaust and wanting to get some different tips, you can do this, and it stands the heat. There's no problem with that. And if you want to change the exhaust and still want to black out the tips, you can always do that too. But it's going to cost you about 18, 20 bucks, depending on if you need the tape or not, to do it in about, I don't know, 45 minutes between, or an hour maximum. Summer days, so it's going to dry much faster, and you'll be able to do multiple coats. So let me get this last piece off here. So this is how the car looks. After it has been done. So it's completely blacked out. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned.